Today we are sitting down and really getting into Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky, because I think a lot of people see Kyle as the OG of Beverly Hills, the last woman standing from season 1, the one who has been there since 2010 and held it all together. And Mauricio as the charming Mexican-American real estate mogul with the big smile and the luxury portfolio. And yes, both of those things are true. But there is a whole other layer to this couple's story that has been building for 15 years on television in front of millions of people. And I think it is time to sit down and actually talk about all of it. So we are going to go ahead and break it all down. Let's start at the beginning because you really cannot understand who Kyle Richards is without understanding where she came from. Kyle was born in Hollywood in 1969, the youngest of 3 sisters, Kathy Hilton, Kim Richards, and Kyle. All 3 of them were child actresses. Kyle started performing at age 3. Her older sister Kim had already been working since she was 6 months old. Their mother, Kathleen Richards, managed their careers throughout their childhood, and Kyle has said in interviews that her mother had a habit of comparing her girls to each other in ways that created wounds that took decades to show up. The family was in the entertainment industry before most kids in their town knew what the entertainment industry was. And all of that history shaped the dynamics you see play out on screen. Kyle met Mauricio Umansky in 1994 at a club. She was coming out of her first marriage. She had been married to Guraish Al-Jafri, an Indonesian-born real estate executive. Daughter Farah from that marriage in 1988. Mauricio was born in Mexico City on June 25, 1970, and had moved to Los Angeles as a child. He did not have money when they got together. Kyle has said this herself. "My husband did not have a penny when I married him. My mom lent us money when we were first married." They did not have a prenup. She said that too. "It's very clean cut. Everything's half. Regardless, that's not an issue for me." Those are her words about a marriage in which she said there was no prenup. Let me park that detail because it becomes very relevant later. Mauricio went to work in real estate, including a stint at Hilton and Highland. Yes, connected to Kyle's sister Kathy Hilton's family. And he was good at it. Very good. He co-founded the agency in September 2011 with Blair Chang and Billy Rose. The agency became one of the premier luxury real estate firms in Los Angeles and eventually expanded internationally. He sold the Playboy Mansion. He built a reputation as one of the most powerful brokers in Beverly Hills. And by the time their combined net worth was being estimated in the $100 million range, Mauricio was the one who had gone from being lent money by his mother-in-law to running a company that was doing $11.2 billion in sales in a single year. Chilly. That is a glow-up. Kyle joined the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in Season 2 in 2009 and became one of the founding members of the show as it is remembered. She brought her sisters. She brought Mauricio. She brought her house. She brought her friendships. She brought, whether she meant to or not, every single piece of baggage that had been building in her marriage and her family for years. The very first season of RHOBH ended with one of the most watched moments in the franchise's history. In the finale, Kyle and Kim Richards got into an explosive fight in the back of a limousine coming home from a party. They were with Adrienne Maloof. The cameras were rolling, and Kyle, in the middle of a heated argument with her older sister, called Kim an alcoholic and told her to get help. On camera, on national television, on a show that was going to be watched by millions of people. Kim accused Kyle of stealing her house. Kyle told Kim their mother died in 2002, worrying about you and stressing about you and leaving this on my shoulders. It was raw. It was painful. It was devastating to watch. Kyle later wrote in a Bravo blog post that the night should have never happened and that there were problems between her and Kim off camera that she brought in front of the cameras. She said she wished she could take it back. But here's the thing I want you all to think about. Kyle and Kim both begged Bravo to cut that scene. They begged the production company Evolution to take it out. And Bravo's then executive vice president Sherry Levine said no. She said, and I am quoting this directly because it matters, "All of the Housewives series are based on shooting people their lives and documenting their real interactions. The series really does capture life as it happens, and everyone has moments that they want to keep off the air. The great equalizer for all the franchises is that it's all out there. If it's shot, we will edit it in." And they did edit it in, and it became one of the most iconic moments in franchise history. And Kim's addiction has been a storyline, a conversation, a point of conflict, and a source of pain for this family on public television for 15 consecutive years. And Kyle has always been in the middle of it, sometimes as the concerned sister, sometimes as the one accused of outing Kim in the first place, sometimes as both. That is a complicated thing to carry, and it is part of who Kyle Richards is on this show. Now let's talk about Mauricio and the cheating rumors, because this is where things get really interesting and really layered. The rumors about Mauricio being unfaithful started almost as soon as the cameras started rolling. Back in season 4, on Brandy Glanville, who was a cast member at the time and who had her own beef with Kyle that ran deep, said on camera during a cast trip to Puerto Rico that Lisa Vanderpump had been planning to bring tabloid stories about Mauricio's alleged cheating to use against Kyle. This set off one of the longest-running feuds on RHOBH between Kyle and Lisa Vanderpump that lasted years and culminated in the famous Puppygate confrontation during Season 9, where Lisa's husband Ken Todd threw Kyle out of their house and yelled the now legendary words, "Goodbye, Kyle!" But the cheating allegation planted during that Season 4 trip never went away. In 2013, a person reportedly claimed to have heard Mauricio saying at the Wilshire Hotel in Los Angeles that he strays once in a while. Mauricio denied it. He told the Christian Post he was faithfully and happily committed. But the rumors kept surfacing, season after season, buried just enough that they could be explained away, but never fully going away. By season 13 of RHOBH, which aired in 2023, the cheating rumors were front and center. Kyle confirmed in a season 13 episode that there were things that happened in her marriage that made her lose her trust in Mauricio. She did not say what, but she sat with Erica Jane and cried and said she was struggling with the split because there was not one single big reason for the separation. She said, "There's literally nothing to do with anybody else. It's really just about Mao and me. It's not about our family. It's not about external family. It's not about another person on his side or my side. This is just about Mao and me." And then in part 3 of the season 13 reunion, she sat in front of Andy Cohen and got even more specific. She said the cheating rumors had been chipping away at her confidence and her trust for years. She confirmed that tabloids had been running the stories since as early as season 4. She said Mauricio used to tell her not to care about it and that they knew the truth. And she admitted that no matter how many times he said that, there was always that little voice in my head, like, what if this is true? And then she said something that stopped a lot of people. "I finally just hit a breaking point." She cried. She said she had hoped the separation would be temporary. "I really thought it would come back. I thought, okay, well, this is just a temporary thing," and then it didn't. She said she did not want to be in this position. That is a woman sitting in front of cameras with her whole life on television, saying she got worn down over years and finally snapped under the weight of something she was not fully naming. And the show and the audience and Andy Cohen all sat in that moment with her, because that is what RHOBH does. It captures real emotional weight and airs it. And Kyle Richards has been the center of that weight for 15 seasons. Now RHOBH season 14 brought Sutton Strack into the middle of all of it. During an episode in January 2025, Sutton made a comment on camera about Mauricio's alleged infidelity in Kyle's marriage. She said it almost like it slipped out. Kyle appeared taken aback and immediately denied ever saying Mauricio cheated. Sutton pressed the issue on referencing past conversations where Kyle had alluded to losing trust after an unnamed event. Garcelle Beauvais backed it up in a confessional where she said, "We've been hearing rumors for years that either Mo has stepped out or is doing this or is doing that. Nobody has confirmation." Kyle's response was that Sutton was conflating Mauricio, leaving flirty comments on other women's social media with physical infidelity. But the distinction she was drawing was thin enough that everyone at that table heard exactly what she was not saying. She had never come right out and said it, but she had absolutely created the implication. And when he pushed her on it directly at the season 14 reunion, she still would not give a clear answer. She said something happened. She said she lost trust. And that was as far as she was willing to go. On top of all of that, Lisa Vanderpump went on the Call Her Daddy podcast in 2024 and said, without using names but using very specific identifying language, "You have two imperfect people living together, and suddenly they get divorced, but they've been saying, 'Oh, love Bean, my king.'" She talked about how these couples present as blissfully happy on camera, while the truth is something different. She was clearly talking about Kyle and Mauricio, and Kyle saw it and fired back on Amazon Live, calling it very classic LVP and saying, and this is the part that made everyone lean forward, that she would be happy to talk about Lisa's backyard too, and that if Lisa wanted to get into it, Kyle had things to say about what Lisa was hiding. She did not specify, but the threat was very specific, and nobody has followed up to find out exactly what Kyle meant. Now let's talk about what was happening with Mauricio's business during all of this. Because while his marriage was crumbling, his real estate empire was also facing its own storms. In August 2024, a lawsuit originally filed in July 2023 was unsealed. And the timing is important, because that July 2023 is the same month Kyle and Mauricio issued their joint statement on Instagram saying the divorce rumors were untrue, but acknowledging they had had a rough year. The lawsuit was filed by a whistleblower entity called Relator LLC, and it accused Mauricio, his business partner William Billy Rose, and the agency of fraudulently obtaining $3.5 million in payroll protection program loans during the COVID-19 pandemic. The accusation in the suit was blunt. It said, "This is a case about greed during a national health emergency." The plaintiff argued that the agency was one of many large, profitable companies that misrepresented their financial situation to claim pandemic relief funds meant for struggling businesses. Their evidence? The agency had $6 billion in sales in 2019. That went up to $6.5 billion in 2020, the first year of the pandemic. And it exploded to $11.2 billion in 2021. The suit said the company falsely certified that current economic uncertainty makes this loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant, while their sales were literally skyrocketing. They obtained $2.3 million in the first round and another $1.1 million in the second round, and then applied for and received full loan forgiveness on both. Mauricio's team pushed back immediately and hard. They said the lawsuit was based on speculation and that the plaintiff had no direct knowledge of the agency's internal finances. They argued that gross sales figures do not equal liquidity, that the company did face real operational challenges during the pandemic even while managing high sales volumes. And ultimately, a federal judge dismissed the case in its entirety. Dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled. The case was closed. Mauricio and the agency's representatives put out a statement saying they were pleased the court saw through this baseless lawsuit. So legally, he was cleared. But let me tell you something. The optics of your luxury real estate firm accepting $3.5 million in taxpayer pandemic relief money while your company was doing $11 billion in annual sales, and then having a federal judge throw the case out because the plaintiff could not prove insider knowledge. That is not the same as those things not having happened. The money was received, the forgiveness was received. And a whistleblower thought it was egregious enough to write a federal lawsuit saying it was greed during a national health emergency. Tea-sippers can make of that what they will. And on top of that, Mauricio was hit with multiple IRS tax liens in December 2024, totaling $51,532.60 across his real estate companies UMRO, Realty Group, and the agency. He and Kyle together had already been hit with a $6,542.50 tax lien on their shared Encino home in June 2024, which they paid off. His Netflix show Buying Beverly Hills, which had featured his daughters Alexia and Sophia and the whole family business on camera, was canceled by Netflix after 2 seasons in 2024. So, by the time we arrive at the current moment, Mauricio's professional picture looks like this. His marriage has ended, his television show was canceled, his company faces multiple active tax liens, a pandemic loan fraud lawsuit was filed and then dismissed, and he has moved out of the family home in Encino into a luxury condo in West Hollywood, where he is, according to a December 2024 source, dating around and having fun and not wanting anything serious. And Kyle is still legally married to this man. As of early 2026, no divorce has been filed. Neither of them has filed, she told Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live in December 2024. That's not something that we have talked about yet. It's hard, and it's not something either one of us obviously feel comfortable initiating, and we just kind of let it go. We're just really good friends, and we care about each other. And she added, "Listen, like I said, We will not always stay in this gray area. And there has been more talks about that as of recently, I will say. So there are more conversations happening. The gray area is moving, but nobody has filed a thing. And there is a reason for that. A very simple reason. There is no prenup. Kyle Richards has said so herself, which means if and when they finally file for divorce, everything they built together, including potentially Kyle's interest in Mauricio's real estate empire, gets divided. And Mauricio has been building the agency since 2011. The division of those assets is not a simple conversation. That is why it has been almost 2.5 years since they publicly confirmed their separation, and neither one of them has filed a single legal document to end the marriage. The asset conversation is complex, and both of them know it. In the meantime, Kyle has had her own personal journey during this separation that she has been sharing on season 15 of RHOBH. In a December 2025 episode, she confirmed that since separating from Mauricio, she had been in a relationship with someone she described falling hard for during a vulnerable time. She said she was willing to share it with the world, but the other person was not. She said the speculation and the gossip ultimately ended it. All the speculation and the gossip and the talking is what ultimately ended it. I could have weathered the storm, but this is not for everyone. She did not name the person publicly on camera. She said when she loves someone, she wants to be open, and she was not allowed to be. And that is where her personal story stands right now. Single, on a show she has been on for 15 years, still legally married to a man she is not with, talking about a relationship that she ended up losing because the internet would not leave it alone. And through all of it, the cheating rumors, the separation, the lawsuits, the tax liens, the canceled Netflix show, the prenup question, the asset division nobody wants to have, the mystery relationship, Kyle Richards is still the last original housewife standing on RHOBH. She has outlasted every single person who started with her. She has watched Lisa Vanderpump leave in a feud. Or she has watched Brandi Glanville come in messy and go out messier. She has watched her own sister Kim's battle with addiction play out on national television for years. She has watched her relationship with her other sister Kathy Hilton blow up in a season finale and take 2 more seasons to repair. She has watched Mauricio photographed kissing other women in airports and Aspen and denied it and processed it. She has done all of that on camera for 15 years, and she is still standing. Now, is that admirable? Is that resilience? Or is it something else? Is it a woman who is so identified with this show and this role and this marriage that she does not know how to step off the stage even when the curtain should be coming down? Both things can be true, and the audience gets to decide which lens they want to use.